Hey there, Elliot.
Hey there, how are you?
I'm well. How are you tonight?
Doing pretty well.
Good. Good to see you again.
Yeah. How
I,
did you fare in the ice storm?
it was intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty much a shocker. It seems like every couple of years it's just full on, and then we have a easy winter, and then it's just chaos again. So
Yeah.
it was
Nobody has a plow, nobody has a shovel, because why would you? It just happens once every 2 years, once every year. Yeah.
yeah, completely. I mean, it was catastrophic. I mean, the so many trees down and houses and I mean, like I saw a tree fall on a house and catch on fire and
Yeah.
it was, and then just like, wow, we can't even evacuate because we can't walk. Like,
Oh, yeah.
how will we move the car? I mean, it was pretty intense, but yeah, not so fun. So,
Yeah, I was pretty lucky. I had these little treads that go onto your shoes that have like
mhm.
ice spikes on them, and oh my God, that was a dream out there. So I got to walk and get coffee and do
Yeah.
everything else, and yeah, just it's a good thing to have.
Well, it was funny because yeah, somebody texted me that like, oh, I'm out, I'm fine. I've got my Yak Treks on or something. I'm like, what is a Yak Trek? So having no power and no internet, I was gotta like, I made a note. Okay, the second this goes back on, I'm gonna order some. So I did.
Yeah, yeah,
I'll put them in my cert bag and be ready next time. But
it's tricky out there.
yeah, looks like Jen's coming on. Hi, Jen.
Hello.
How
Hey
are
there.
you?
Good. Trying to figure out, technology still. You think COVID would have given me the opportunity, and yet here I am.
Oh, you, oh, you're not well.
Oh, no, just to like get my headphones to connect to Bluetooth after like
Oh,
3 years of this. You think I would have the procedure down, and yet here we are.
right,
So
here we are. That's
Gotcha.
okay.
I thought you said pathology. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. No.
Yeah.
um,
Okay.
maybe
Uh,
I will.
I have a puppy here that just stole my pen, so oh well. I'll just remember everything. Well, okay, so I got some texts that some folks are can't come. We love our member Stephen Fuller. He's on a human rights commission meeting tonight, and then I think we have other folks still recovering. So maybe just quick and simple, but I'm so glad you guys joined me and we have a lot to kind of debrief. My God.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Jen, will you introduce yourself to Elliot and vice versa?
Yes. Hi, I'm Jen. I'm one of the co-owners of the Whitaker Community Market. I'm also the executive director of Willamette Farm and Food Coalition. And I live like a block outside the Whitaker, but I also was a dispatcher for wildland firefighters for about 10 years and taught first aid and CPR and things. So care about what happens to people when disasters happen.
Nice. Right on. Good to meet you, Jen. Yeah. I'm Elliot. I recently moved here in June, and I'm a production planner for Anybody Laboratory. And recently in January, I started picking up trash around the neighborhood. And I live in North Polk, and I love riding my bike everywhere and walking everywhere. I think Whitaker is awesome walkable neighborhood and everything. Uh, but just the trash everywhere kind of makes you feel like, why didn't I just drive? So I've recently started cleaning everything up, and I love my walks, more. And I see a piece of trash, I'm gonna pick you up later. Just you wait.
That's
And
awesome.
so yeah, and that made me want to be more part of the community and get more involved in an organization. So I'm hoping the Whitaker Community Council can do that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I really want to thank you again. You brought so many valuable things to the general meeting in terms of questions and just your perspective. So it was really great to have someone in the room like you that was speaking up and trying to get some answers, because it's I think we're just all a little fatigued with the way the Whitaker is constantly struggling, and
Yeah.
so many aspects. So just to chat real quick about the trash thing you're on. Yes, do you know about the Adopt a Block?
I do. So I
Good.
lit them up. I signed up for their program. So
Good.
they're great. They send you basically entry-level cleaning supplies. So a grabber, a bucket,
Mhm.
a hazards bin in case you encounter needles or any other things like that that you wouldn't really want to mix in with general trash. They're solid. Already got my shipment in. So I already had a bucket and grabber. Now I have two backups. So
Nice.
yeah,
There we
yeah.
go.
So I really recommend them. Uh,
I think our
it's
grabber broke at the end of last season. It was the
yeah,
world's saddest grabber because it has been cleaning up Stover Gardens for 8 years. And so I think we might should possibly apply for the get a new
yeah,
grabber.
yeah. You should. Yeah,
Yeah, you deserve a new grabber, Jen.
yeah.
The building, I was actually thinking about like gilding it because it has seen some things.
Right, it's a famous grabber at this point, right?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised to see probably like 15 to 20% of the blocks in the Whitaker already have been claimed. So there's already a
That's,
block investor somewhere, which is excellent.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like we've got Julie Bowman coming on. She is kind of told us about the Adopt a Block, so I'm excited she's hopping on here. We're
Yeah. Hi,
she,
Julie.
there's Julie. Hey.
Hi, Joy.
Oh, she's having some difficulties.
That's all right.
We'll wait. Julie's worth waiting for.
Indeed.
Julie, I don't know if you can hear us yet, but Elliot was talking about oh, she's coming back here. She's gonna try a different angle. Okay, nope. I wonder if she's got, I don't know. I don't know if I'm just being paranoid, but my internet has been so weird after it went off and on, and then power went
So
off and on.
yeah, I was working from home today and I was having weird internet issues. So
Yeah,
hopefully
like
it's a thing.
text messages not going out and stuff. It's like, oh, Elliot, what did you say you did again? Or
Yeah.
what is your
So I'm a production planner. So I work in supply chain and I work for a antibody manufacturer kind of in the riverfront area by
okay.
U of O. And its name is Abcam. And we produce a bunch of kind of ready to go experiments for researchers around the country and around the world. And so we purify antibodies, package them into experiments ready to go. It's a researcher will get this assay, this experiment, and just open up the bag and they'll have every component they need to do to find a target for either cancer research or some other disease research.
Wow,
And it's right in Eugene. Yeah.
that's fascinating work.
Yeah. It was a spun out company from the U of O, I think in like 2008.
Oh, wow.
And they spun out, did their own thing, and then they were acquired a few years ago by Abcam that kind of does this globally.
Mhm.
And now we manufacture out of Eugene.
Was it formerly ORI?
Formerly, it was Mito Sciences.
Okay. It's funny. I just signed up for a random research study to try to basically sell my thyroid antibodies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have
Right on.
like really high ones. They're like, we'll give you $1,000. And I'm like, oh, okay. So,
Take 'em.
Yeah.
Sure.
we all sell body parts for thousands of dollars.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Excellent. Hey, Julie, can you hear us now?
I finally made it in. I could hear for a little while and not see anything. I was kind of on my phone, and then anyway, technology fun, but I did make it.
Yay. We're glad you're here. Thanks. We were just, we just wanted to touch base real quick about the Adopt-A-Blocks because Elliot just mentioned it and
Yeah, I
Yeah,
recently
Elliot, it's
signed.
good to see you again.
Hi
I
there.
met you at the meeting last earlier this month.
Yeah, it's sadly right. I think you gave me the advice to check out Adopt a Block, and I did. I signed up.
Oh,
The
fantastic.
website is super approachable and really easy to use.
Hmm.
And they shipped everything out post ice storm. So I just got it, which which is
Fantastic.
good. Yeah, really nice. Uh yeah, I would recommend anyone that's curious about, should I be the someone when you say somebody should clean this up? Maybe it should be you. Uh, yeah, that's the easiest way to, at no cost, see if that's something you enjoy, because it's definitely not made for everyone. Picking up trash just in your free time. So if you like it, that's the best way to get into it.
Absolutely. I'm excited about it. I'm hoping that the WCC can do a little more to promote it this spring. Um,
we're gonna
I
start.
love some of their mottos. They say doing your share and a little bit more
Yeah.
makes a better community for everyone. Um, I adopted my block in the fall, I think, and it was kind of a no-brainer for me. I already clean up in front of my house. I clean the block in front of my house because I want my street to be clean. So going around the block was easy. And yeah, it's been great. I think it'd be wonderful if we get more people to do that. And I'm glad you're here. Maybe you want to partner with me a little bit as we get that going. It's not exactly disaster resiliency, but it might be a fun project to work on.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'm trying to also expand what I can do. Currently, I just have a grabber and a 5-gallon bucket, and I find
Mm-hmm.
I can only cover 1 or 2 blocks. But recently, I got an 8 foot long bicycle trailer that was used
Oh,
by a arborist in Portland. That was a bike-based business, and I'm gonna put that to work. I'm gonna find a hitch for it for my bike, which it didn't
uh-huh.
come with one, but I
Mhm.
reached out to the original guy that made it, and you might see me riding around the Whitaker with the bike trailer longer than my bike.
Full of trash.
Oh,
Fantastic.
and with trash in the back. Yeah,
And a big old grabber. That's
yeah,
all.
it's sadly right. Yeah, 6 feet long, so I can just from the bike. Yeah,
That's
Nice.
fabulous. No, but I mean, Public Health and Safety Committee is completely about cleanliness too. I mean, so
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the perfect campaign for us to start. And Julie, thank you so much for sending me that wealth of information about it. I'll get that on to Kelsey, our social media person, and we'll get it started soon. Like probably at the top of February would be good.
Awesome.
Kind of like grab more attention about it and see if we can gain some traction. So yeah, good stuff.
yeah.
Okay, folks, let's debrief. That was a doozy of a storm. Anybody want to go first, like what your experiences were or how y'all fared?
So I can.
Okay.
Um, we I personally fared great. We did not lose power.
Mm,
In terms of outreach, I try real hard to ignore the news because it makes my mental health better. So I had only a slight idea what was forecast. So I might not have been as prepared as I could have been had things not gone so well for me.
mhm,
Um, and in terms of outreach, I have my van neighbor who I woke up on Saturday morning and realized how much ice there had been. And I realized she was trapped inside of her van because if I can't get into my car, she can't get out.
Oh,
And then I remembered that she stays warm by running her propane inside of her van. So then I felt really not great about that combination of things. And so I decided I was going to go break her out, make sure that she could at least exit her van if she, God forbid, set it on fire. I wanted to make sure she could open her windows so that she didn't kill herself with carbon monoxide. I was able to raise her on phone. So that made me happier that I knew she was okay right then. Um, so I did a quick Google about how to open doors without breaking windows and packed up some things and went over and put my eyes on her, saw that she could open some windows to get ventilation. We talked about it a little bit. And then I decided that she needed to go into a hotel room. So we got her a hotel room for, it took me until Sunday to convince her that she needed a hotel room. But we got her a hotel room for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday night. Not everybody went to the warming centers. So my friend was an example, but down on my corner is an RV that, or a tow behind trailer. It doesn't have any glass in its windows. It's got plastic. And there's a child living in that RV, like a 10-year-old. And I was able to talk with them a little bit and find out if they were doing all right and take them some hot food and some water, because they probably didn't have water that wasn't frozen. But there were a lot of efforts that helped. The big city gaming people are amazing, but not everybody took advantage of those things. There were people still making it happen. Anyway, we helped out a neighbor on Fifth, a lady who was worried that her carport canopy was going to come down.
Susan.
And bless her heart, she's 70 something, 5 foot nothing, 100 pounds soaking wet. And she was out there trying to get the ice off 20 plus feet of horizontal canopy to keep it from collapsing. And it looked like she was going out, climbing on a ladder, busting it down with a broom until she got tired, and then going inside and resting. And my point with that is that it might be useful if we had more of an organized system than Facebook. Margaret alerted me to her that she had posted randomly that she needed some help. It took Steve and I maybe 10 minutes because we're tall, we're big. We had 2 brooms, bust all the ice off. So that was an example of something really easy I could do to help that made a big difference for her. I was terrified of this lady climbing up and down her ladder. And I don't know that she could have she wasn't making a lot of progress. It was a lot for somebody little and older. And her car was under there. If it had collapsed on her car, it would have not been great. So anyway, I was happy we were able to find a few people to help. I think there were a lot of people who still needed help. But we were good. So anyway, that's all I got.
Thank you, Julie. Appreciate that. All right. Jen, you want to go?
Sure. Yeah, my big adventure was my mom lives in Cottage Grove, and the old folks home has a generator, but it was only enough to power half of, so they gave heat to memory care, and the other half did not, was unheated, unpowered, and things like that. So my dumbass drove to Cottage Grove on Monday, and managed to avoid the 15-hour jam up by taking back roads back. And came back, we had power, that was great. I lost a canopy, so my outside storage system for the market stuff is
all gone,
as one would expect, but that's fine. We made it to the warming center to volunteer on Sunday night. That's kind of the test run, because I knew I was gonna have to go out to Cottage Grove to see if our truck could drive on the ice. The biggest thing I noticed there was that there was a few people who were there. I did early shift cooking, and so there were some people who just were there because where else are you going to go, and there was at least a little bit of a cover, so they weren't sitting in the ice. But people would, when they did finally get kind of bust over or make it back, were sometimes a little agitated, but understandably so. We've just been outside all day. There was no place open. There was no place warm. What were we supposed to do? And of course, I was pretty disappointed. Glad that St. Denis figured out the non-Egan solution for Tuesday night, but was pretty appalled that Egan couldn't open on Tuesday night when there's 3 inches of ice on the ground, where the air temperature might not be below 32 degrees, but the ground temperature sure is. And so that, our neighborhood, like, because I'm up on 8th, between Chambers and Polk, so it was pretty quiet. But sort of venturing out, it was kind of like seeing really the need for, additional generators and continuous services for those in congregated vulnerable living situations, more day warming sites so people can charge their phones so they can communicate if there is internet and stuff, and just be warm. I think some of the upriver folks, like the Grange, I think it was just open from like 11 to 3, but a lot of folks were coming through there. And so, I think that I have a lot of thoughts about it. We don't have an Egan site, in our neighborhood, and we don't have really a day warming site. And so just to get downtown to catch the bus to an Egan site or to walk to the fairgrounds was pretty treacherous. So, I'd really love to see us be able to open up something, in that kind of thing. So, which is why I want to become like a resilience hub. But
Thank you, Jen.
another story.
How about you, Elliot?
Yeah, I fared actually fairly well. I missed all the power outages that happened in the neighborhood. No trees directly fell on my house. I did have a neighbor get part of the roof knocked off by a big evergreen that came down. I didn't have to go anywhere, which was good, but I did notice I live in a townhouse complex, and a few people would venture out a day after the ice storm happened and give it a go just to come back with a half gallon of half and half. And I was like, oh man, maybe that wasn't the best use of that trip. That was a lot of risk there. But otherwise, I did enjoy that, so many people do live locally here in the neighborhood that on Sunday I was able to go get coffee at Wandering Goat and just walk over there with some ice tracks on my shoes, and that was very comfortable. I think it's good to have people walking around, eyes on the street kind of thing, seeing if anybody is stuck, if there is any issues. It's hard to get any help called in or even get anybody able to transport outside of the neighborhood in. So I find people walking around after storms a pretty good thing. Definitely not people driving. So we fared pretty well, and I'm used to living kind of outside of the city where after a storm, you're likely going to lose power. So I stored water in 5-gallon containers and stuff like that. So it's prepared there. Living in a townhouse, it's kind of unknown who is responsible to kind of clear paths, maintain safety within parking lots and stuff on property. So I decided to do that and clean everything up. And also, it's difficult to know when you lose power. It's against my lease to have any type of fireplace or anything like that. So we have a back patio area. Would have violated my lease if I lit a fire back there or something? That's interesting thought. But yeah, we fared really well, honestly. And we followed kind of the guidelines, have battery backups, have water, have enough food, and yeah, all was well.
Well, yeah, it's my experience, and thank you, Elliot, for talking about it. To me, it just really kind of shocked me. I think when we were starting to talk about our Public Health and Safety Committee goals for this disaster resiliency thing, we had, I think we'd all kind of joked about, well, the one thing we don't prepare for is what's going to happen. And so I guess, I mean, for me, my mind just focused on snow. I didn't really understand I mean, even though the news was coming in and it's so disjointed, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I look on the weather app on my phone and it'll say something completely disparate from what's going on. And so with the power out, then like you can't really figure out what's happening. So even though we knew, my family knew it was coming, I think we were just kind of sucker punched at how intense it was. And Elliot was mentioned those yak tracks. I think Stephen Fuller from our committee texted or wrote to me and said like, I'm doing okay. I'm just out walking. And I was like, you're walking. And so, something else to throw in my cert bag. So I went on Amazon as soon as we got the power sorted and bought it. I mean, they're $20 a pair. My God, like, so that's something my brain was just really focusing on in terms of the Map Your Neighborhood project. And like Elliot's saying, that's such a good point. The more people are out after a storm that have mobility, the more assistance we can give to one another. So that just drove me crazy how unprepared I felt at that. And then I think it was Saturday, I just lost track of time because my family had to evacuate to my house. They live out on Lorraine Highway, and so when the power goes out there, they can't have access to the well. And we have a special needs family member, and my mom's 75, and so on and so forth. So I had all of them in my house, and I honestly don't even remember what night it was, but I stepped outside to just kind of like get some air away from them all because it was kind of a clamor. Um and I heard a massive tree that's kind of up in my neighborhood fall, and it was so terrifying because I could hear like the crack, and then it almost generated a sound as the wind was taking it down. And when it hit, it started this whole series of fire. And so, I was sitting on the porch just kind of like, dear God, so now we're maybe going to have a neighborhood fire and I can't even walk to get to the car. Like I could imagine maybe getting my family into the car and then just sliding the hell down the hill because I'm up Chambers. I've got like a different kind of landscape where I'm at. It's a little higher than the Whitaker, and I just thought, holy moly, we could just all end up just trapped. So anyway, the ice yak track, I think they're called, was the thing that is driving me the craziest. That like I wasn't prepared, and otherwise I'm completely prepared. I mean, a nuclear war could hit and I'd have our shit together. Oh, sorry. Or so I think, but then you just are always so caught off guard when something this kind of atypical happens. So that was my experience. We had power on, power off, internet gone. I was really concerned about my dad. He's down on Chambers and like 18th, and he's in a St. Vinny's apartment complex. And that was bizarre because they were just completely on their own. And that was a little intense because there's a lot of seniors in that apartment complex and folks again with disabilities. And he felt really vulnerable and scared, and you couldn't get a hold of the property management because they were probably beleaguered with all the other properties that they're dealing with. So that was intense, to be just so worried about everybody. We also found that our phones weren't working well, kind of still are having a little problems, so trying to get in touch with him was odd. So yeah, I feel like for the family experience, it was a lot. And then I lost my beautiful Bartlett tree, which was super sad. It just like came down and narrowly almost took part of the windows out of the house and stuff. And then I had a big dogwood tree that I love that just snapped in half, like the top of it. So a lot of property damage. So yeah, what a doozy. And now we have another event coming on Tuesday. Have you folks heard about that?
Oh.
Yeah, and again, this is strange, like, well, do they really know? Where can we actually find really reliable weather? But that's reportedly going to be really challenging because it's a massive rain and wind event. And we have a lot of situation in the city where the sewers are still all clogged up from the ice, and there's a lot of trees down, and so we could have a lot of flooding, which would be strange from a city point because you know, our first concern is obviously the Whitaker right there being at flood point. Oh, also, that was weird about Springfield. That really demonstrated a pretty profound situation. I mean, I was on cert kind of stand hold by to maybe go out and work the trucks to because people were on that boil water notice. So that was fascinating, and it really brought to mind as well, you know, the 9 dams and above Springfield. So if we have a massive flooding event coming now, that's something to think about. So yeah, it's a lot.
For that, is there a place we could stage sandbags, you know, for folks or something? Or like, could we talk to maybe Rexius, because they probably have it, and just kind of know that that might be a resource for that? Because I know like the city, I think Springfield was giving out sandbags.
They were, yeah. I felt like their response was really good. I mean, they had the run for their money there in terms of having their emergency management work. To yeah, I was impressed with what they did. So yeah, I feel like they got hit so much harder, and it bears to mind, you know, what our experience would have been if we had had that issue on top of. I mean, so many people in Eugene don't have an alternate power besides electricity. So how do we incentivize and educate people to like just have a basic propane camp stove because it's when you can't drink your water. So
A good, sorry, just before this, a good cheap hack for the yak tracks, hose clamps, like the metal ones for cars. You can
oh,
clamp them down and they can fit any size shoe. And then if you like really need it, you can put a couple screws through them.
right. Yeah, I saw
Sorry, my
that.
mom is calling me because after spending 4 days here, she thinks that she still lives with me and needs to talk to me every hour on the hour. But so I apologize. I have it on do not disturb, but apparently that doesn't work.
That's
Um,
okay. Yeah, I saw
but
that like a DIY, like, well, if you can't, if you have got to walk outside, just get some screws and put them through old shoes.
but yeah, the hose clamps are nice because they can just go. You can get the big ones that
Yep,
just go over and just kind of wrench them down. And you know, not
that's
that I did that, but you know, when
right.
I fell, I was like, oh, I think I know where those hose clamps are now.
Yes, right. Drag them out somewhere. Yeah. Well, okay. Oh, Julie, I'm seeing you. You had them too. Okay, that's how you guys got to Susan's house to help with the canopy.
Um, no, Steve drove us over to Susan's house. Steve thinks driving in this crap is fun.
Hmm.
Oh,
He's got a 4-wheel drive GMC truck with new tires. So he was out every day fooling around.
oh,
Um,
wonderful.
yeah.
Well,
But
you need
I
better.
use the yak tracks to walk to work. I actually had someone who wanted to come for massage,
Oh,
and I wanted to make some money, and I was sick of being at home. And
right.
I knew it would take me an hour to defrost my car and 15 minutes to walk to work. So a little trekking pole, yak track action, and I made it to work just fine. Kitty litter. I was sprinkling kitty litter like a reverse breadcrumb track in
Mm-hmm.
front of me.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't work for far, but it worked to get to my car and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the hose clamps though because that's cheap and fast. Converting your shoes to studded shoes with screws, that sounds like a all evening long process.
Nightmare. Yeah. And I was just freaking out, like, what if they like, you know, I mean,
Poke
what if
through.
they poke through and you end up with just the head of the screw like embedded in your foot? And I mean, it's not the pointy part, but still, you
Yeah.
know, you don't know. I mean, like, so okay, yeah.
Yeah. Wood ash is also good for traction. So if people are burning in their what what am I trying to their
Wood
furnaces or
stove?
wood stove, thank you. Yeah, couldn't think
Yeah.
of yeah,
Mhm.
burning in the wood stove, keep some wood ash. I keep some in my car in the back trunk. I have a big
Oh,
mason jar. Same way
really?
people will keep like kitty litter. just in case you get stuck. I use wood ash. It's great.
That's
Super
amazing.
traction. Yeah.
That's a really wild point. Now, how do you think you, I mean, how did you go out on your bike in this ice?
No, I didn't. But you totally could have if you had a studded tire on the front. Thing
Right.
is, you can get started, but you can't turn at all. Don't just go in a straight line forever. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
so I wouldn't recommend it unless you've winterized your bike, and a lot of climates have, yeah, we have one snow event. Why would you have studded tires on your bike? But say up in Montreal or something where the snow never melts and you just always have a constant layer of snow, people put studded tires on their bikes and bike in the winter.
Yeah.
I once famously said about 4 seconds before I wrecked my bike, well, I'm from Chicago. I used to ride my bike in the snow all the
Yeah.
time, and nope,
Nope.
it's like, and I mean, it was very, I think one of the funniest, like the most charming moments is that my partner is from New York. And so when it happened and we woke up Sunday morning, I suppose, and it was there, he was like, oh, so I should go shovel the walk now, right? And I just was like, no, I don't see. But I think that like maybe we could kind of like with the adoptive block sort of, vibe, maybe try to, if it's gonna happen again like this, try to maybe have a standing crew of folks who are willing to like, Julia, if your husband's gonna be driving around anyway, if we throw chains on the tires, it has the benefit of breaking up some of the ice for folks. And like some people who might be willing to do some kind of shoveling or something. Some people like it, I think. I don't
Mhm.
understand that.
I
Yeah,
do.
he
I
gets-
was
No,
Yeah.
like, I'm nominating Elliot to go and shovel all of the sidewalks in the entire.
Yeah, somebody asked me while I was shoveling, do you like do maintenance around here now or something? I was like, no, I'm just a guy. Just
Right.
let me play around with my tools. I bought all these shovels, I'm gonna use them.
You're
Steve
handy.
gets
Yeah.
stir crazy.
Yeah.
Steve gets stir crazy. So he looks for reasons to go. If people say like, I need a ride, I need to go here, I need help here, I can't make him stay home. I'm real nervous, so I don't love it when he does that sometimes, but he's a great person, and if he knows who wants help, then he's all about it. Partly because it gets him out of the house. He doesn't want to sit home. He can't do it.
Yeah.
It's better than him going tooling around for no reason. If he's going out, he might as well be useful.
Doing something, yeah.
And-
Let me, oh, go ahead, Elliot.
Yeah, and that kind of reminded me of something I've been thinking about and starting to implement is like a citizen cleaners group where where it's like a set roster of like semi-permanent volunteers that just like dedicate some time consistently to improving the neighborhood and like reacting to things. If there's a trash dump, they quickly go out, offer a higher level of service than what the baseline city service is. Because during this whole ice storm, if the ice didn't melt, the Whitaker probably would have never been plowed. Like they were still on priority 1 roads 3 days in, and we're priority 3 at best.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure if it would have lasted a week, it would have been iced over for a week, and that would have really disrupted everything. So it's kind of about people stepping up and just saying, yeah, I'll be like the street steward. I'll be out there if you need anything, give us a ring. Yeah, trying to avoid any type of like HOA way where there's like rules and regulations and people are like being nosy, but just people doing their own thing and just helping out.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Listen,
So-
oh, I think
Well,
go ahead.
so a question would be how best to do that. Not everybody is on Facebook. Not everybody is on Nextdoor. How do we get in touch with people who need help with their canopy that's going to fall down because of the ice, or help because they can't clear their own stairs, or they need medication, or they need food? So I'm interested in thinking about best ways to do that outreach.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
I mean, buddy systems and, like going working through some of the coordinated care of like Catholic, like, you know, reaching out to Catholic Community Services and seeing if people go in there for services and they might fit into that like Meet a Buddy system, that they could be referred in one way. You know, it's like Elliot, what you're talking about doing is like, I'm so stoked to hear you do it because it's so much work. And like, but I think if someone has like your attitude about it, like people will come and help with it, and then it's less work, and that's the hump that you kind of need to get over. But I think really trying to like do like just put up flyers in some of the places that people who might need services would go to, and then also through the mutual aid. The Lane County Mutual Aid website is usually pretty good. There's a few people on there who already have buddies, kind of, or they'll be like, I checked this for my old neighbor. Those are just a couple of places I can think of that might be. It's definitely not. There's lots more brainstorming to do.
Yeah, one of,
Yeah, it's
I keep trying to get the share for you guys to see the survey. And that was such a really good point. Like what you just said is how do we get this hotline? How do we get the folks connected? I'm sorry, I'm having trouble sharing the screen, but I wanted to show you those comments. Let me try one more time. I don't know what's going on. Oh, there we go. Can you all see that?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Yeah, we had a lot of response on this, which was great. Once the storm started, I started like writing down little things because I thought this is our opportunity, and like as they were kind of unfolding, but I think that, you know, that this is interesting. The first question was, did you get advance, you know, adequate warning? And so there. This was interesting. Did you take steps to prepare for the ice storm? Not so many folks did. And I wonder if that's related to just not really understanding the severity of it. This
I
was,
will say that I answered no to that, but it's because I didn't have any warnings for the
yeah.
storm, but I was already prepared. So that was a
Mm,
back and forth on that one. So.
yeah, good point. This was interesting. I think the thing people did most was charge batteries and devices, which makes sense. And then oddly, the lowest one was laid in food and water supplies, which was odd. Okay, then, so the worst outcome here was property damage, which was interesting, I guess. And I can relate, that was me. I mean, all kinds of stuff is broken in my cul-de-sac. Then this was great. It showed walking was the way through. That had the highest results of how people were moving around through the city if they could. Second highest was I couldn't leave my home. That was me. Then this was interesting. I was trying to kind of get the parameter of like, well, how many of us had issues? And I mean, I know our own chair, our WCC chair, had to go to Schwab Tires to try to get a battery to get a medical device still going. You know, like that. That's a really scary thing for some folks. But anyway, here we are. This was, I'm jumping ahead. This was neat. The areas that folks felt were the most vulnerable, the back streets with extensive tree canopy. That seems really true because we had everything coming down. Let's see. And then this really talked about, of course, our unhoused population, elderly, and children. So those are real targets to kind of work tighter on. And then this was telling because, I mean, what sources were people able to use for backup power? And essentially it's just friends' houses. If you could get to a friend's house, you could shelter in place there, use their power. But this just drives me crazy and really wants kind of like focusing on how could we get some type of a building or a storage that's immediately in the Whitaker. We have a storage now, but it's way the heck out and it does us no good But I think Jen and I, but we're both looking at this grant right now that would provide these types of things, generators, portable shelters. Like it really is granular about what you do when this goes out, and storage is maddening because it will do us no good if we don't have a central place where people can come get things they need. I mean, it would be amazing to kind of have like a tool library for emergencies. Like, okay, you need a generator. Great. We're going to put it on this block and 4 houses can run, storage is just baffling. I don't know how that would work.
Yeah. Does the Whitaker Community Council currently have any physical storage space or physical presence?
It's tragic because we had a really sweet little small community center that was, the Whitaker Community Council is almost 50 years old. And so it was built many, many years ago in the 70s. And then when Head Start bought the large property where they're now,
Yeah.
the building was there and then somehow ownership transferred to them. And I've been with the council since 2021, trying to kind of figure out how we can get that back. And it hasn't worked. So
Stupid. Okay.
yeah, it's so frustrating. Like we had a perfect little place, but there's still, I don't know, maybe a hair of thread of hope there. I'm gonna keep trying. But that would just be amazing, it's right there. It's, where Head Start is. It would be so
Yeah.
easy to just
Yeah.
have that as a hub. So anyway, moving down here, this was
Throw it out there, Elliot. If you happen to know anyone who wants to give $100,000, I do have an angel donor who will do a matching
Oh,
thing. And because I was looking at the building on 7th Street and Polk that's round shaped and has a fenced in lot, and so it's just on the edge of the neighborhood. But
yeah.
because it's, running the market, we set up and break down an entire, like,
massive.
large store every day that we operate.
Where do
And
you keep
just
your
being able to, in the box truck.
Oh, I see. And then
That
the box
I
truck parks at your house?
No, because the box truck doesn't run well enough to commute every week. So we just kind of shuffle it up and down the block. It's at my house now for the winter, but
Push it and
but
Well, Jen, that's
no,
great that you have an angel investor because a lot of grants of those size rely on matching funds. So
yeah, there's not a lot of things for real property, and I just on it tonight. My organization is like, sure, Andrew, you and I can talk about this because my organization is risk averse. So somehow being given money to acquire equity in an asset seems risky to them.
Mhm.
So I would like to maybe pass the opportunity on to the council as part of a larger thing. But we can talk about that.
Yeah, we'll
Um,
that's
but
so
it, there is such a physical need for infrastructure. Sometimes it's really great, and I can be really proud of what we do without a lot of it. And the fact that we're not trying to build a new $10 million building to sell earrings and carrots to people. But when
I got that.
like the fact
I got that joke.
yeah, but a covered space would be nice somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, and just the fact like our box truck doesn't have a ramp, and so like I've had 3 knee surgeries getting in and out of it.
Nice.
Like,
Yeah.
Oh,
I have to tow porta potties each week, and we use them for the concerts in the park and stuff like that, and and it's the Whitaker Community Council is a really interesting entity that has been around so long, and like the fact that you actually are able to act as the government entity and representative that you kind of are is really important because the city doesn't give a shit. I saw the city manager today give a talk at Rotary Club, and so I know the price tag on the riverfront and all the things. And we've been trying to get an extra trash can in Gilbert Gardens for a year.
yeah.
Yeah.
So sorry, that was my event.
No, totally.
We're so with you. It's really frustrating, and it's almost like there seems to be no way forward except a complete grassroots do it ourselves. And I think that's really the onus of how the council started, You know, it was just kind of like, wow, we're on our own here and we have to figure it out. So
Might as well organize. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and there's power in that, and it's hard, but we're chipping away at it. So I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just
Yeah.
hop back up here so we close on time. I just want to go down real quick and finish and get to those good points that were helpful. People were divided about the WCC posts, and again, those were hectic because we were trying to post relative information, but power kept, whatever. So again, internet is a joke when these things happen, which makes me think again, we need to get more of those FRS radios, and main people need to have them, and then you communicate back to main hubs, and they take them up to ham, and then that goes straight to emergency sources, and then we wait for them. But let's see, here we go. How could community work better during the crisis? And right at the top, right up here is exactly what I want to figure out what we do. This set up a hotline for anyone needing help, food, medication, or urgent transportation. So to me, that would be something literally as simple as a burner phone, that gets activated with a QR code when stuff gets hairy. And somebody just has to man it and we relay information. And then I think but then again, what if we lose cell towers, so it's a real interesting question. But then that you go back to the FRS radios, I mean, I think we could build that same structure. And that would have to do again with some of Julie's work with the Map Your Neighborhood.
Right.
Yeah. A good idea would be a hot number that you call and you're prompted to leave a voice message. So just like, hey, a tree's fallen down, here's my address. That voice message would then be distributed to the members of the response team, and somebody could pick that up almost like a ticket and then call them back and be like, hi, I'm Elliot, I'm part of the response team, I'll be right there in 15 minutes. And it's almost like you ring in, that creates a ticket that gets voice memoed out to the rest of the team. Yeah, good point. No good without internet.
But there is
Yeah.
a shared.
I
So
was thinking, free, easy to create, quick. We don't need devices. But I like your ticket idea.
Yeah, that
That's
way
better.
somebody doesn't have to live pick up. They can, oh, I missed a phone call, I have a voice message. That could also work. I think there's also voicemail on Google Voice. So
There is, and texting.
perfect.
And
Okay.
you get forwarded emails of the voicemails on Google Voice if you set it up right. So that if we had a
that'd
bulk
work.
account, then hopefully someone might have service, because like AT&T and Verizon went down in Cottage Grove, but T-Mobile didn't.
Right.
And so like there might be.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead, Ghost.
Oh, just like if it's a total blackout, it's a total blackout and it's going to be radios only.
Right.
But then maybe that's when we have to start, if it's really that bad,
Yeah,
then
it's beyond.
door-to-door stuff.
Yeah.
Well, then we're at the level of the Map Your Neighborhood program, where hopefully we have individual team neighborhood captains or neighborhood hubs where, I mean, if we can get that program off the ground, I'm taking the training with Megan now, and we're working to hopefully for me to shadow her in a training next month with a community member, where I'll then be pretty much able to take that off her hands because she's not able to put a lot of effort into that. That's predicated on the idea of getting people signed up. But if we had a better Map Your Neighborhood ready situation with radios, then we'd have a better ability to deal with no internet, no phone. It's an idea.
Yeah, no, it's really exciting. And on that note, I want to remind you, Elliot and Julie, I'm not sure if you are CERT members, but you are already.
I'm not, but I'm taking that training. Yeah,
Good.
I'm signed. I
Great.
have the March training on my calendar, and
Great.
it's on my radar that I need to do the independent
Yes.
learning before that to be able to enroll.
Oh, I'm so glad. That's excellent. Because the more of us that become CERT activated, the tighter this all gets with that training and those resources. It's like the first step. So Elliot, are you by chance CERT trained or would you be interested?
I'm out of the loop. No,
Oh,
what is
okay.
CERT?
Okay, CERT is a fabulous thing that was started kind of after. Oh, it's a long story. We're running
Okay.
out of time, but I'm going to send you a link and check it out. We got the city to activate a training module basically for us and other folks that are thrilled about doing it. And it's a big deal to get it. It's a crash course in how to do everything from like if a building falls down, how you do cribbage to get somebody out from under a log or a beam. By the end of it, you have a real basic but yet complete knowledge of how to assimilate and respond in a disaster. So let's see, Jen, are you saying? Oh, I thought you were CERT already. You were just
I
have
have my FEMA certifications.
right.
I have some ISs, but I don't have the actual cert training.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Yeah, I'll send it to you and Elliot and yeah, it's really great. The trainers are amazing. It's really fun. It's down there right at the EMS station on Second and Chambers. And it's great. You get to go into these big buildings that simulate fire and search and rescue and it's quite a program. So the more of us that can do it, we're just going to be stronger and better. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. Okay, let me see. Anything other? Yeah, I'm gonna give this all to you. I'll figure out the best way to pass it on, but there was so many good things in here that I'd love for you all to read when you have, half hour at some time. Because a lot of it is useful, a lot of it's just absurd, aliens and some of those things. But it was really good. I think reading through it'll help us, and I'm going to pass this on into in the next day or two. I'll give it to you guys, and then we'll be passing it on to the city of Eugene to see if they can help us think tank some more or use.
If we just send it out as a single question too, I'm sure we'd get actually a million responses of, did you lose any income or face financial hardship? Like, get people to quantify that.
That would have been good.
Yeah, I think it might be worth it to just have that as a little 2 question, fill in the blank thing, because people want to complain about that. We would get probably an overwhelming response.
It's
because I think the city, one of the things they forget that we are actually an economic center. We are a commercial district. We are, we are the heart of the town, but we also, are, more than that. So please also give us some of our tax base back.
Yes, well said, well said. All right. Yeah, I did see them put out something that said that if your house was damaged or you had substantial property damage, they would reduce your tax rates, like property tax rates. So that was some little step towards the right direction, but um it doesn't help our unhoused folks or renters. It's just kind of a mute point. So
It would have been nice if there were some emergency funds for people who lost a week of work. Can make a huge difference to a lot of people if there were even emergency food stamps or utility vouchers or I don't know if there's anything of that nature that could be forthcoming. And I lost a week of work, but I'm lucky enough that that's not going to make or break me. But a lot of people are going to face hardship in
they,
February, making their rent and covering their bills.
they
I
really
think ODA is going to come out with some resources. I'm hoping soon, but then it's, can people apply for it? Can people do the process?
right. There's so
But
many barriers just to get through the bureaucracy to get the aid. It's really hard.
Mhm.
yeah,
And a lot of people really suffered. I mean, I read today that there's generators were stolen from the train tracks out in Springfield. People were so desperate to stay warm that it's just tough. So, all right, folks, thank you so much for hopping on. I'm grateful for you guys. And yeah, let's see. We'll just keep trucking and thank you for great ideas, and I'll see y'all in 2 weeks.
All right.
All right, sounds
Okay.
good.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right. Bye.